What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in Warfame. We are talking about Oberon today. Yes, we are doing a updated Oberon video here, Oberon guide if you will. So hopefully you enjoy this. Let's go ahead and get right into this. This is my favorite frame in the game. I think most people know that by now. So let's go ahead and start talking right about the abilities. Okay, Smite. First ability. Very useful ability. Smite's focused energy inflicts up to a 500 damage with a 100% confusion chance to a single target within a range of up to 50 meters based off of the power of the card and your mods. The damage is 50% impact and 50% radiation damage, and the damage is affected by the power strength, and the target suffers a knockdown as well, which you'll see me do a number of times. Confusion causes affected enemies to attack the nearest unit and become targeted by their own allies for up to 12 seconds. And the cast range is affected, of course, by the range. Okay, after the initial damage of the target, you have up to 6 projectiles that will now home in on enemies within a range of up to 12.5 meters. Over a duration of 12 seconds. Each of these projectiles will inflict up to 150 radiation damage with a 100% weakened chance proc on it. Of course, the damage and number of projectiles are affected by power strength, and affected enemies are staggered in this case. Weakened enemies will inflict 30% less damage over a duration of up to 6 seconds. So as you can tell, this is a really good one. This is very spammable and works very well. Now, if the homing of the target's projectiles do not find an enemy initially, and they will actually home to the nearest enemy that they pass. So just keep that in mind. Okay, Holla Ground. Holla Ground is a pretty nice one. Now you drop basically flames on the ground, and this will be over an area of up to 2.5 meters in width and up to 7.5 meters in length based on your mods. And enemies within this area of effect are inflicted up to 100 radiation damage every half second over the duration of up to 20 seconds. Again, all based off of your mods. Damage is affected by strength. Duration is affected obviously by duration. Length and width are affected by range. Now, allies in the area of effect will gain up to 20% armor and will have existing status procs removed immediately upon stepping over the Holla Ground. And they will also gain a temporary immunity. Now, the armor buff is, of course, affected by power strength, so whatever strength mods you're running will make that armor buff even better for everybody. And the status immunity will include the controlling effects such as knockdown and staggers. Okay, but it does not include for your allies the Eximus enemy drains or crawler disables. Magnetic procs from the ancient disruptors are resisted, but the disruptors are still able to drain a small amount of energy on every attack. So it is still very effective for your team, but you just got to get your team to know and utilize this. But it is a good ability now that it has been updated. Okay, let's talk about Renewal. Oberon emits healing orbs that travel towards its teammates. There is an unrestricted range. On contact, it will restore up to 125 health, and immediately after the initial heal, it will additionally do up to 400 health regeneration over a period of time. Fully healed allies will have existing status proc effects removed from them. And then something that's really interesting here, Renewal's Drain has a 5 energy per second. It will remain active as long as Oberon has energy and the ability duration remains. Now, Renewal will end if Oberon, of course, runs out of energy, if the ability reaches its duration end, if the maximum health gain per player is reached, or if you deactivate the ability by pressing the default ability key, which is 3 again. Finally, let's go ahead and talk about Reckoning. I think everybody knows a lot about Reckoning here. It's affected by all the power mods, so strength, range, and duration. Oberon will lift and violently slam enemies to the ground with a radius of up to 15 meters, inflicting up to 1250 damage with a 100% confusion chance to the affected enemies. On death, enemies have up to 50% chance of spawning health orbs, so another way to keep you health up and running. This is very similar to Smite, whereas it's 50% impact, 50% radiation. It is affected by strength, and enemies will suffer a knockdown if they survive. Confusion causes enemies to attack the nearest unit and become targeted by their allies for up to 12 seconds. Now, also, the affected enemies that survive the damage of the initial cast will emit a blinding flash of light upon impact with the ground. Any nearby enemies that were not caught by the initial cast will be blinded for up to 4 seconds with a radius of up to 4 meters from each flash. Duration affected by duration, of course. Radius is affected by range. And the blind mechanic is very similar to Excalibur's Radial Blind. As well, what's nice about Reckoning is you can hit enemies above or below you. It doesn't matter. As long as they're in your range, you can utilize this ability. So now that we've got that all set up, let's go ahead and take a look at a build. Alright, here we go. Let's take a look at his here. Now, I've got two builds in here. I've got Config A and B set up. Config A is more set up that I am going to run publicly. It is more traditional. It's not fully traditional setup. It is more traditional. We've got Energy Siphon, of course, for our power regeneration. We're going to be able to utilize all 4 abilities, so Smite, Renewal, Holla Ground, and Reckoning all in here. We're going to utilize Redirection and Vitality for our shield and health mods. Flow, of course, is important because he does have a low power pool, so we're going to get our 300 power pool with Flow. Then we're going to worry about strength here. So we're going to use Blind Rage to get, in this case, 72% strength on here, which is enough. So that way I only have a 40% efficiency loss. And to cover that, I'm going to use Fleeting Expertise, which essentially means I'm going to have a plus 20% efficiency. So I'm going to lose duration here. So I'm going to utilize Continuity to get some of that duration back, which gives me my Hallowed Ground at like 12 seconds. And that's more than enough for me based off of what I'm doing the majority of the time. So this is how this works. Now, if you do not have Blind Rage and Fleeting Expertise, you can always exchange them for Intensify and Streamline and max them out, and you'll be set as well. Though it will not be as powerful, I really believe Blind Rage needs to be on this one to give the extra strength in the Smite, Hallowed Ground, and Reckoning that is desperately needed on this. Okay, now build B. This is the one that you will see me run most often when I'm by myself, or when I'm with the guys of the clan, because or people that I've run with, you know, some of you guys that I've run with a number of times that I know how we work together. This will be the one that I use most because this is more specialized, where I'm only utilizing Smite and Reckoning. I will use this one when I'm doing a lot of melee runs, especially if my melee weapon has Life Strike on it. This is going to work out perfectly. And basically the only difference here is we're going to add in Streamline at 20% efficiency right now because we've only got the one forma. So this will actually give me an 80% efficiency, minus the 40% gives me a 40% efficiency. It allows me to really spam Smite and or really spam Reckoning. Now if I go ahead and put more forma in, which I will at some point to make another build, that'll be forthcoming, but that'll be a whole different type of build on how you could really play this one, more advanced if you will. No release date on that one yet, but that will come down the road. Then I will probably actually max this out to get my max 60% back in here, but we'll see how that all goes. So this is the one that you're going to see me run, like I said, more privately, more solo, that type of thing, with my melee setups. So if you do have any questions, please do feel free to comment below. If you like this video, hit that like button for me. If you're not subscribed and you want to subscribe, please do hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.